Well, the ground's been covered many times, but you had success, and then you broke up. So, in short, for somebody who doesn't know the story, what's the story? Things are going great for you, the band's going great?
Well, we had three main songwriters, and Dennis and Tommy were the most successful of those. And I was a very known figure as the tall guy at the center of the stage who played lead guitar and had been there from the beginning. But Dennis had this vision for an idea that none of the rest of us agreed with, and we battled about it for quite some time. We all finally gave in to him on this concept record of Kilroy Was Here. And he believed in it, but none of the rest of us really did. But we tried our best to make something out of what we had, and we changed management as a result of that. And it was a financial disaster. It alienated probably half our fan base.
I would say there was more underlying situations to that. We had worked nonstop pretty much for years and never taking a significant amount of time off. And I think had we still had the same manager, he would have recognized that and he would have said, okay, here's what we're doing next year. We're doing nothing. You guys are going to go, get away from each other, miss each other.
Dennis insisted on firing the manager that had managed us to this great success.
So, but I think that's a lot of what it had to do with. We should have gone out and go, because
take a year off.
Take a year off. Go do a solo album. Do this sort of thing, but then get back together and you'll maybe appreciate each other a lot more. We never really got to that point.
The only way to really continue to, survive and succeed is to go out and play live concerts. And he wasn't a team player in this regard. And when the time came in 1999, we had a new record ready to go, and we had offers galore to go out and perform live. And Dennis refused to leave the house, he said, for a medical reason. So I said, tell you what, you've worked on Broadway, and I said, you have understudies there. When you're not well one night, somebody else plays your part. So I said, why don't you just come with us and we'll do this, and you don't have to do all the shows. And he said, I don't want you to do that. And I said, well, we're going with you or without you. And I think he thought we would fail. And I knew we would succeed, and we did succeed. And a year later, he sued us in court over the use of the name. We settled out of court on the whole thing, and have gone on without him.
Well, the inevitable question, what are the chances that he comes back in some form, in some way? Is it absolutely positively never, no way, or is there something in the works, or nothing in the works, but you're open to it?
I've forgiven Dennis for everything he's done that I feel that was not right, and I wish him the best. He's a really talented guy, but I have no desire to work with him again, to depend on him being where he's going to be when he says he's going to be there. And I wish him the best.
You know, it's like a divorce. You get married when you're young and everything's rosy, and then as you start to get a little older, you realize you didn't have that much in common, and then you go through a tough divorce. You've got all these kids, and you just can't agree on anything. And you'll try, and it goes south. It's kind of like that. We've tried to just have even the simplest arrangements for things, and it's just what they call, I guess, irreconcilable differences. And we still have songs that we co-wrote together, and those are our children, and we've managed to find a way to keep those things in play. But personality-wise, at this stage in my life, I want to be happy. I want to be around people who love me and that have my best interests at heart and I don't have to fight with. And so there's just not enough years left that I would want to risk not having that again.
Amen, Brother Tommy.
Well, Lawrence, you've been very good to sit there and listen to this.
I love listening to Styx history like you wouldn't believe. I've heard a lot of the stories. I don't like to comment on people's former marriages.
I can understand that, but You know, people still to this day,
Yep.
some people like to focus on the fact that Dennis is not with the group
Right.
anymore.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you've actually, I checked this out, you've been in the band longer. Is it time to retire this talking point?
If Dan Rather wants to talk about it, I'm fine with it. Listen, you know, I see the band. It's funny because I hear the angst and the history that they had to live through, and as a band, and I'm respectful of that. From my perspective, although I've been in the band, I'm going into closing in on
20th concert season.
20 years. Yeah, now, so it's a third of my life. So I look at it as if we are a great band. And what's made us great is that we are the culmination of the efforts of everyone who's ever been in the band. There's only ever been 10 members of Styx from way back in 1971. I think that's a relatively low number for a band that's been around for over half a century. Wow. And in order for a band to continue on, you know, sometimes in life you need a blood transfusion. And sometimes, you know, although I'm Canadian, apparently I was a match.
J.Y. and Tommy, I'm looking at this, and I wrote it down. First band to release 4 triple platinum albums in a row.
That's correct.
Let's talk about then. What was the key to your success at that time? I mean, you were really rolling.
Well, I think we had 3 highly motivated writers that all had a kind of a different mindset, different skew on what they wanted to do. And they say that great works of art come a lot of times from anxiety or discomfort from the artist, and we kind of made each other uncomfortable. But when we really finally all got something that worked for all 3 of us as writers and producers and arrangers, it's withstood the test of time, and it's still reaching young people today 40 years later. So we did something right with our writing process.
How about with you?
The one thing that I can say that we do is we testify. We're not, you know, it's not subtle. We get out there and we sing loud. We sing high harmonies. It's just like this. It reminds me of gospel music on Sunday when I was growing up. You know, they just arms out and they're like the Happy Goodman family. Gospel Jubilee, 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 hands out. That's kind of, if you listen to a lot of our choruses, they have gospel roots to them. And even our songs do, because they'll sometimes deal with subjects that are a little dark, but by the time it gets to the chorus, it's like everything's gonna be all right.
Jubilee time.
Yes.